In this video, I'm using Google's NotebookLM to analyze publicly available IPO DHRP educational documents for educational purposes.
Okay, so there's this tech company. You've probably never heard of them, but I can almost guarantee you've used their software. They're called Amagi Media Labs, and they are about to go public. We've gone and dug through their massive 450-page IPO filing to bring you the real story on their business, their growth, and what the future might just hold. All right, let's dive in. You ever find yourself scrolling through your TV and wonder how that random 24/7 cat video channel or that obscure British crime drama magically just appears? Well, chances are, Amagi is the reason why. Even if you've never heard their name, they are the hidden engine that powers a huge chunk of the streaming TV world. Now, before we get too deep, let's make sure we're all on the same page here. We're talking about an IPO, an initial public offering. This is that huge moment when a private company steps out onto the public stage and sells its shares for the very first time. It's a massive deal for any company, and Amagi is right on the verge of taking that leap. So here's our game plan for today. First, we're going to look at the IPO itself. Then we'll dive into the messy, complicated world of streaming that actually created the need for a company like Amagi. After that, we'll check out their cloud solution, look at their growth by the numbers, face some of the risks and red flags, and finally, see where they're planning to go from here. All right, let's start with the basics. Who exactly is Amagi, and what's the big deal with this IPO anyway? So all the info we're talking about today comes straight from this beast of a document, the Draft Red Herring Prospectus, or DRHP. I'm talking about an incredibly dense 450-plus page legal filing that lays out literally everything an investor would need to know. We've done the heavy lifting for you and pulled out the stuff that really matters. So who is Amagi? Well, they got their start back in 2008 in Bengaluru, India. At their core, they're what's called a software as a service, or SaaS company. And their mission? It's actually pretty simple, but incredibly powerful. To be the tech bridge that connects content creators, like TV networks and movie studios, directly to their audiences, all using the power of the cloud. To really get why Amagi is such a big deal, you first have to understand the problem they were built to solve. And that problem is, well, the absolute chaos of the modern media world. I mean, just think about it. It wasn't that long ago that we had, a few dozen TV channels? Today, it is a total explosion of streaming platforms. You've got subscription services, free ad-supported channels, countless apps. It's a universe of content, which is great for us, but for the people making the content, it's a universe of complexity. And this creates a massive headache for these media companies. All of a sudden, you have to figure out how to get your show onto hundreds of different platforms, and each one has its own weird technical rules. You've got to format it for phones, tablets, smart TVs, you name it. Then you have to localize it for audiences around the world and figure out how to actually make money with ads, all without spending a fortune on giant physical broadcast centers. And this is where Amagi steps in. They've built a solution that's based entirely in the cloud, and it promises to bring some much-needed order to all of this chaos. They do this using that SaaS model we talked about. So instead of a TV network having to buy and maintain all this massive, expensive hardware, they can just rent Amagi's powerful tools through the cloud. It's way more flexible, it can scale up or down as needed, and it's a whole lot cheaper. This diagram here is a brilliant illustration of their whole process. You can think of Amagi as a master air traffic controller, but for media content. It takes in all the video files and live feeds, gets them all prepped and ready, and then sends them out to every possible destination, whether that's old school satellite and cable or all the new internet streaming apps. Let's break that down into 3 simple steps. First up, preparation. This is where they take the raw content and get it TV ready, adding graphics, captions, and programming in all the ad breaks. Step 2, distribution. They then zap that polished channel out to over 300 different distributors in more than 40 countries. And finally, monetization. This is where they help their clients actually make money by putting in targeted ads. And to see this in the real world, just look at Sinclair Broadcast Group. They're a huge TV broadcaster in the US. Now, instead of running 180 separate physical broadcast centers, they use Amagi to run 62 of their local TV stations entirely from the cloud. Think about that. It centralizes everything and makes them way more efficient. That's the power of their solution at a massive scale.
Okay, so we get what they do, and it sounds like a pretty powerful solution. But is it a good business? Is it making money? For that, we've got to turn to the numbers from their IPO filing.
And the first thing that just jumps right off the page is this incredible growth. Their revenue has been growing at a compound rate of nearly 31% over the last 2 years. In the tech world, that kind of fast, sustained growth is a huge flashing sign that the market really wants what you're selling. All right, now this number right here, this is absolutely crucial for any company like Amagi. It's called net revenue retention, or NRR. An NRR of 127% is amazing. It means that, on average, the same customers from last year are spending 27% more money with Amagi this year. It tells you two critical things. One, their customers are sticking around, and two, they're so happy that they're buying even more services over time. It's a fantastic sign of a healthy, sticky product. And the good news just keeps coming. If you look on the left here, you can see their customer base is growing nicely, especially those big clients spending over $1 million a year. And on the right, check out the gross margins. They've improved from 65% to 69%. All that means is that as the company gets bigger, it's also getting more efficient and profitable with every sale it makes. But, no business is perfect. It can't all be sunshine and roses. For the full picture, we have to look at the risk factors section of that prospectus, where the company is legally required to tell us everything that could possibly go wrong. And you don't have to take my word for it. This quote is pulled right from their filing. It's the company itself saying, hey, listen up. This is a high-risk investment, and you really need to read this section carefully. So let's do that. What are the big red flags for Amagi? Well, 4 key risks really stand out. First, they're hugely dependent on cloud providers, especially Amazon Web Services. Their entire business runs on AWS. So if Amazon raises its prices or has a major outage, it hits Amagi directly. Second, the competition is fierce. They're fighting the old-school broadcast giants on one side and a bunch of other hungry cloud startups on the other. Third, they've got to attract and keep top-tier engineers, and their filing mentions a tech attrition rate over 15% last year. That's a real challenge. And finally, technology itself is always changing. They have to keep innovating at a crazy pace just to stay relevant. So, knowing all those risks, what's the plan? What are they going to do with all the money they raise from this IPO? This brings us to our final section, the path forward. Their whole strategy really boils down to 3 simple actions: win, expand, and extend. They plan to win by making sure their tech is always the best and most innovative. They'll expand by selling more stuff to their current happy customers. And they'll extend by pushing into new parts of the world, like Latin America and Japan, and maybe even buying up some other companies to grow even faster. And that, my friends, leaves us with the big, multi-billion-dollar question. Amagi's ultimate goal is to become the industry cloud for all of media and entertainment. The one essential, can't-live-without-it platform that the entire video world runs on. The tech is powerful, the growth is definitely there, but so are the risks. Will they be able to pull it off? Well, that's the question the market is about to answer.